Hello everyone, I'm Yaakov.
And I'm Shimmy.
Hi Shimmy.
Hi.
Do you want to learn about the mitzvah of matzah?
As a matter of fact, I do.
So do I. Let's learn about it together.
Oh, this is going to be so interesting. I'm so excited. I can barely wait. Okay, are you going to start? Or should I start? Okay, fine, I'll start. Since Yetzias Mitzrayim and Matan Torah over 3,300 years ago.
Shimmy?
Uh-huh.
How about if I start and you just jump in whenever you want?
Okay, fine by me. Can we start?
Here we go.
Phew.
Since Yetzias Mitzrayim and Matan Torah over 3,300 years ago, every year on Pesach, Jews around the world prepare for the many mitzvahs of the Seder. The mitzvah we will be discussing here is the mitzvah of matzah.
Okay, matzah. Wait, you said that it's a mitzvah? Which mitzvah?
Mitzvah number 10 of the 613 mitzvahs is eating matzah. Shemais, Perek Yud Beis, Pasuk Yud Ches. The Pasuk says, Ba'erev teichlu matzahs. Ba'erev, on the night of Pesach, which is on the 15th night of Nisan, we should eat matzahs.
So what is matzah?
Let's find out. The Chachamim teach us that matzah is a special kind of bread. It is a bread that does not become chametz.
Wait, what is chametz?
Well, chametz is when dough sits long enough for it to rise on its own. The Torah tells us all about chametz in
Mitzvah number 9, Shemais, Perek Yud Beis, Pasuk Tes Vav. Pasuk says, Ach bayom harishon tashpizu sa'am libateichem. Before Pesach, we must do beer and bittul on all of our chametz. Bittul is to make it hefker. We make it just like dirt, which doesn't belong to anyone. We do this by saying kol chamira, which can be found in the beginning of most haggadahs. Beer is to destroy our chametz, and it is usually done through burning.
That's right, Shimmy, but wait, there's more.
I know. Mitzvah number 20, Shemais, Perek Yud Gimel, Pasuk Zayin. The Pasuk says, V'lo yira lecha chametz. You should not see chametz.
And
Mitzvah number 11, Shemais, Perek Yud Beis, Pasuk Yud Tes. Shivas yomim se'ar lo yimatzah b'vateichem. All se'ar and chametz cannot be found in one's possession.
that's right, the famous two mitzvahs, Bal Yira and Bal Yimatzah. You should not see and you should not find chametz on Pesach. But there are still a few more very important mitzvahs.
Okay, your turn.
Mitzvah number 19, Shemais, Perek Yud Gimel, Pasuk Gimel. The Pasuk says, V'lo ye'achal chametz. You should not eat chametz on Pesach.
That also reminds me. Mitzvah number 485, Devarim, Perek Tes Zayin, Pasuk Gimel. Lo yiseichel alav chametz. Not to eat chametz on Erev Pesach after Chatzos, which is midday. And the Chachamim teach us to stop eating chametz by the 4th hour, just to be safe.
Correct. But there is one more mitzvah we should mention. Mitzvah number 12, Shemais, Perek Yud Beis, Pasuk Chaf. The Pasuk says, Kol machmetzes lo yiseichelu. Any food mixed with chametz, you should not eat.
Okay, so that is where the Torah tells us about chametz. But what is chametz?
Chametz is when one of the 5 kinds of grain, which is chita, se'ora, kusemes, shibboleth, shual, and shifon, wheat, barley, spelt, oats, and rye, that come into contact with water for longer than 18 minutes before being fully baked.
Okay, so to sum it up,
First, we have to get rid of all chametz because the Torah says tashpisu. We can't see chametz because of Bal Yira, and we can't find chametz because of Bal Yimatzah.
we can't eat chametz because it says lo yaichal. We can't eat a mixture of chametz because it says kol machmetzas. And we must stop eating chametz before Chatzos on Erev Pesach because it says lo yiseichel alav.
And then we have the mitzvah to eat matzah.
Matzah must be made from one of the 5 grains. The 5 grains are chita, se'or, kusemes, shibboleth, shual, and shifon. Wheat, barley, spelt, oats, and rye. This is because matzah must be made from flour that could become chametz. But it didn't.
Shimmy, do you know what the ingredients used in matzah are?
Sure I know. 6 eggs, 1 cup of brown sugar, a cup of white sugar, 1 cup of chocolate chips, a cup of flour, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, a half a teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda.
Shimmy?
Then you bake it for 22 minutes at about 350.
Shimmy,
Uh-huh.
we're talking about matzah.
Oh, I thought you asked about chocolate chip cookies. I was a little surprised that you changed the subject like that.
Shimmy,
Uh-huh.
what are the ingredients used in matzah?
The only ingredients in matzah are flour and water, and it is baked quickly in a very hot oven.
That's right.
Bread is basically made with flour and water. So is matzah. But the difference is that bread is usually given more than 18 minutes to rise.
That's right. Another difference is that yeast is added to bread dough. Yeast helps the dough rise by letting little pockets of air and gas to expand. This gives bread a soft and fluffy texture.
Soft like a pillow. Pillows. They're so soft and fluffy. Wow, now I'm getting tired.
What else, Shimmy?
Salt and other spices will also heat up the dough and make it rise faster. So that is why we do not add any salt or spices to the dough.
That's right. Nothing more than flour and water is used to make the dough.
Yaakov, did you know that matzah is also not baked outside in sunny areas? On a sunny day, the heat from the sunlight might speed up the process of the dough turning into chametz.
That's right. That is also the reason why the mixing of matzah dough is done nowhere near the hot oven. Again, the heat may cause the dough to become chametz in less than 18 minutes.
Very good. Let's move on.
The water we use for baking matzahs is also special. It is called mayim shelanu. Shimmy, do you know what mayim shelanu means?
Sure, your water. Wait, your water? What is so special about your water?
No, Shimmy. Mayim is water. Shelanu means that has rested. That means that we cannot use fresh water from a well or a spring. Instead, we can use them after they rest overnight.
I know. The Gemara says a story about Matzah who went to a town called Papunya. When he taught them the halacha of mayim shelanu, they all asked him for his water. But he quickly explained to them that shelanu here means she, that, lanu, rested.
That's right, Shimmy. The Gemara is in Psachim, Daf Mem Beis Amud Aleph.
Okay, so what's next?
The matzahs are then baked in a very hot oven.
The ovens are heated by burning specially dried wooden logs and coal. The oven is so hot that the coals give off sparks.
Before we begin to bake matzahs, we say, L'shem matzahs mitzvah. These matzahs are being made to fulfill the mitzvah of matzah.
At many points during the baking of the matzahs, the people working in the bakery will say L'shem matzahs mitzvah. This is to remind us that these matzahs will be used for the mitzvah that Hashem commanded us to do, and we must be very careful while making them.
Shimmy, you know, for many years matzah was made only by hand. In the 1800s, with the use of machinery becoming more and more common, special machines were developed for making and baking matzahs.
So then we should discuss both handmade matzahs and machine-made matzahs.
Good idea.
For many different reasons, some people prefer to use machine-made matzahs, while others prefer to use matzahs that are made by hand.
As always, one should consult his Rav as to which matzahs he should use for the Seder.
So now that we know the basics of what we need to make matzah, let's see how they do it.
Alright, are you ready?
No, wait. 1 second. My helmet won't buckle. Okay, got it. Ready.
Okay, let's go. Kemach shemura mishas katsira, flour.
Matzah must be made from one of the 5 grains, since it must be made from flour that could become chametz, but it didn't.
Shimmy, what are the 5 grains?
Chita, sa'or, kusemes, shibboleth, shuel, and shifon.
And in English?
Which is wheat, barley, spelt, oats, and rye.
Excellent.
Why, thank you, Your Excellency.
We will focus on wheat since it is the most commonly used of the 5 grains. However, many people do use matzah made from the other 4 grains for many different reasons. Many months before Pesach, farmers begin plowing their fields to plant wheat.
Wheat normally needs between 110 to 130 days from the time they plant it until the time they harvest.
In order to grow, the seeds will need to be properly nourished.
The sunlight, the nutrients from the earth, and water from rain or irrigation systems all let the little seeds sprout and begin to grow into healthy stalks of wheat.
During this time, the farmers are always watching the young wheat grow and doing many different things to help it grow better.
The wheat slowly grows taller and taller until it finally reaches the point when it becomes ready to be harvested.
The farmer knows it is ready once the green wheat slowly changes into a beautiful golden brown.
You know, Yaakov, you're a little dramatic sometimes.
Only a little?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, Shimmy, what's next?
From the time of the harvest, which is called Sha'as Ketzira, the wheat must be watched to make sure that it never comes into contact with water.
Matzah made with this special flour is called matzah shemura. Matzah made from wheat that was watched from the time it was cut in the fields until the time it is ready to be mixed into dough.
The wheat is harvested and the kernels are separated from the stalks in a machine called a combine. The combine cuts the wheat and separates the kernels from the stalks, and then it saves it in its own compartment. The empty stalks are then spilled out of the back of the combine.
Trucks will drive along next to the combines and a chute will transfer all the wheat kernels to the truck. The truck then takes all the kernels and brings it to the silo, where they are stored until they are carefully packaged.
The kernels are stored until they are ground into flour, which is usually closer to the time when they will be made into matzah.
The flour is then measured into small amounts. The matzah bakers may mix a few different kinds of flour that came from different fields and that were grown at different times. They do this to get a better flavor in the matzah, or so that the dough will have a better consistency.
Okay, what's next?
Mayim shelanu. Water. H2O.
Who?
Shimmy, water's a thing, not who.
Well, you said H and two O's. That sounds like who?
Shimmy, water's called H2O, 2 parts hydrogen and 1 part oxygen.
I know. Thank you so much for the exact scientific terminology.
My pleasure.
Okay, let's move on. Almost any water mixed with flour will make dough, but for matzah we need to use mayim shelanu, water that has rested overnight. This is mainly to make sure that the water is stored in a cool place.
Heat will make a dough rise faster and therefore speed up the time it takes for dough to turn into chametz.
The matzah bakers go to the wells or springs and collect water before the sun sets. Then they store the water in special tanks and containers until the next morning.
Once the water is stored overnight, it may be used not only the next morning, but any time after that, even days later.
The water is also measured to the exact amount needed to make the dough. Adding too much water to the dough will make it too sticky and thin to roll into matzah. Too little water will make the dough too hard to knead and roll.
The amount of flour and water that goes into one batch of dough is kept below the amount of dough that would require challah to be taken. This is because dough that is bigger than that amount would be too big to be constantly moving and worked on, and some of the dough could become chametz.
Wait a second, what do you mean challah? Isn't challah that soft and fluffy, delicious bread we eat on Shabbos and Yom Tov?
Yes, I know.
Are you confused?
Nope.
Wow, now I'm confused.
Mitzvah number 385, lahafresh challah. Bamidbar, parak tesvav, pasuk chaf. Reishis arisei seichem challah tarimu truma.
We should separate some dough and give it to the Kohanim as truma. The Kohen can then bake this challah dough into bread and eat it according to the laws of truma, only in a state of tara.
Today, since we are not able to keep the rules of Tumah and Taira, we burn the challah.
The Chachamim teach us that the shear or amount of dough that one would take challah from is the same amount of an omer, the amount of man that every Jew got in the midbar.
An omer is 1/10 of an ephah, or 43 1/5 bayim, or eggs.
That's about 5 pounds of flour, right?
Yep.
But if the measurements of the dough used for matzah are smaller than the amount needed for challah, then how do we take challah on dough for matzah?
We take challah and burn it after the matzahs are already baked.
Wow!
But more about that later. Cleaning.
Before every 18-minute run, all of the equipment that will be used must be thoroughly cleaned to make sure that absolutely no flour or dough is still on the equipment from the last run.
Since those little pieces of dough waited for longer than 18 minutes, they are now chametz.
If those small pieces of chametz would get mixed into the matzah, that would make the matzah become chametz, and we would not be allowed to use it on Pesach.
All the people that will be handling the dough carefully wash their hands. The mashgiach will then inspect their hands to make sure they are chametz free.
All the equipment is carefully scrubbed down as well, and the mashgiach will inspect every piece individually. The matzah bakery usually has more than one set of equipment, so that while one set is in use, the other will be cleaned thoroughly in preparation for the next run. This saves a lot of time and allows the bakery to make many more matzahs every day.
The men who roll the matzahs work on metal tabletops. They are removable so that they can be cleaned thoroughly, and they are not put back until they are completely spotless.
Wow, that looks really clean. I can almost see my reflection.
The mashgiach then carefully checks each one by one.
One by one by one?
No. He checks each tabletop one by one, and he will re-clean any part that might still have even the smallest piece of chametz.
After the tabletops are put back in place, the mashgiach will check the metal rolling pins that are used to roll the dough. Every morning, the rolling pins are carefully cleaned with a strong brush that is attached to a motor. This motorized brush is also used by people whose teeth are too big to brush with a toothbrush.
Shimmy!
Okay, I was just joking.
The poles used to carry the raw matzahs to the ovens are covered with paper. After every time they are used to carry a matzah dough, the paper is removed and then replaced.
Since the dough only touches the paper and never touches the sticks, once the paper is replaced, the sticks can be reused.
The ovens.
The ovens are heated up using dried firewood and coals. Coal is used because it can retain heat for a very long time and it burns evenly, producing a steady source of heat. Logs of wood are also used, and they create an intense heat as they burn and help the coals to light up. The ovens are so hot that the wood bursts into flames all by itself.
The ovens themselves are carefully constructed using special bricks that will allow the heat to stay in the oven and not escape. The burning coals and wood are put on both sides of the oven, and the rounded ceiling of the oven makes the heat spread evenly along the surface. As we mentioned before, the oven has to be hot enough to cause sparks, and after the oven is fully heated up, the burning coals will spark as soon as they are touched or moved.
Wow! The sparks look so cool.
Cool? They're burning hot.
You know what I mean.
The fire from the wood will light the coals, and the coals will then keep that heat going for a very long time. While the baking is in progress, if the bakers see that the oven needs more heat, they will add 1 or 2 pieces of wood. This will make the oven hotter and help bake the matzahs faster.
Yaakov, did you know that the temperature in the oven is over 1,000 degrees?
Wow, that's hot.
Yeah, I know. Phew, I could use a drink.
A special air hose with a metal pipe blows air at the coals. This is done to help the coals burn better because air helps combustion.